Hello, Internet family. This is Anjanette Potter, and you are listening to, also known as Adam's Rib, and you are listening to the Wednesday Humpback update for Adam's Rib Media Ministry. So I'm not going to be before you long. I really am saving sort of my strength and power for Friday night's message. I didn't go on this past Monday simply because I, had a bit going on as far as supernatural warfare goes. I do believe that I do believe there are people. I believe that Black women right now are under tremendous amount of attack. I believe our character is being attacked. I believe our opportunities are being attacked, and I believe that it's coming from all places, including other Black women. So I saw this thing earlier as I was, on YouTube, and this guy, this is how despicable the devil has been operating. So this guy came on there and he was ostracizing Black women, and he was ostracizing us for paying into the GoFundMe of the young woman who said that she was hit by a brick and that no Black man came to her rescue. Well, there's more and more evidence that, they're looking up evidence and trying to say that was a possible hoax. I didn't even know she had a GoFundMe. They're also talking about a woman who possibly sent herself an email from a company she temped for with a possible racist email. I really do think that these hoaxes that are coming forward are another way to keep Black women silent about what they've been going through. I've been posting on my social media, and I've been basically saying with Black women, don't be silent about your pain. I've been, posting a meme from Zora Neale Hurston, where she says, if you're silent about your pain, they will murder you and swear you enjoyed it. Well, now you see that Russell Brand is being accused. I'm with the victims on this one. I do believe, because when guys come out and talk about how promiscuous they are and different little stuff like that, yeah, in my heart of hearts, even I believe the victims. I'm more likely to believe the victims simply because of some of the stuff that I've endured in the past that have come out of men. And I don't put wings and a halo on any guy. I really don't. I think anybody can be, I don't care where you are, don't care, British accent, none of that other mess. There are so many guys who publicly are one way and privately are somebody else. And so that's why the Zora Neale Hurston thing, when I was tweeting for Yes All Women, one of the things that I tweeted was that no matter what color he is, no matter what his social standing is, no matter whether or not he's famous or not, no matter what your social standing is, no matter what your background is, no still means no. And I'm really tired of men who weaponize power. I left the church recently because I believe that they were up to some stuff. And, one of the things that they've been trying is to, when people are guilty, they try to destroy your character. And so one of the things that I'm a little sick and tired of, Like, well, people trying to, well, why don't you have no contact with him? Because I have no desire. When I hear cases like this and I hear women being challenged, and when I hear women being challenged, when I hear their accounts being challenged, when I hear people, just because the person is famous, no one's fame has ever swayed me. Continue to share your stories. Continue to talk about your stuff. The devil wants you silent because there are many powerful men who are guilty. And they buy into your silence. Your silence allows, the Russell Brands or the different men who are guilty of that type of behavior to continue to operate. Abusers kind of specialize in making you feel insignificant and unimportant. And I really think that's one of the messages that, that is being sent to Black women right now at this time, especially Black women at this time, is to make you feel insignificant, to make you feel as though your story doesn't matter, that the stuff that you're going through doesn't matter. Playing it down so that you'll stay silent. It's playing you down so that you'll stay silent. One of the number one reasons victims don't come forward is because of fear of not being believed. And many of these guys know it, which is why they isolate you. So don't be silent about your pain. We practice too much shut mouth grace, and it allows too many men to continue to keep operating like they're operating. So continue to share what you're going through. Right now, I remember going through a situation in a church I was attending where a pastor rubbed up against me in front of his wife. And so, of course, I'm sitting up here thinking, what in the heck? And it does. If it sounds like a setup, it was. And so the next time he got up and was preaching, he started with the gaslighting. Well, why doesn't anyone believe me? Why this, that, and the other? Why blah, blah, blah? And I saw it as what it was, which is a setup. When people go in on you and start acting like they don't believe you and start making all kinds of aspersions against your character, it's time to hit the highway. Christianity teaches that you need fellowship and to neglect not the assembly, but you need to be assembled with people who aren't trying to harm you and aren't trying to gaslight you and aren't trying to make you feel like any sexual misconduct of any kind and you need to bounce. I don't even believe at all that you should stay in place. Don't let anybody bag on your loyalty. So back to the post that I was talking about. The guy gets in this post and he starts berating Black women about believing her and posting into her thing, but then tries to shame us and play and put guilt on us by saying how hardly no one paid into this one. So there was a case where, I guess it was in May, where this brother lost his life because he was defending a Black woman. Now, this is the excuse that a lot of men give for not defending us. You could lose your life. Well, she could have also lost hers. Okay? It's not good either way. So the guy lost his life, and I remember reading about it when it was going on. And he lost his life right in front of his family. And so they did the GoFundMe. And people did pay into it. Come to find out, people did pay into it. But it also, the time for the GoFundMe was up And so they had shut the GoFundMe down, so it wasn't anybody able to pay into it. But this guy didn't have the information up, and when you looked at the information, it was his own GoFundMe. So this guy was using a case of scamming to try to play on Black women's guilt, to try to play on our psyches about believing this woman, just to be scamming us on behalf of a prior victim on a case that happened all the way back to May. And I'm just like, this is further proof that men suck. Okay? This is further proof that men suck. This is further proof that men are not right. This is further proof that the devil is actively against Black women at this point. When it comes to the whole Russell Brand thing, I do believe the victims. I don't believe that Russell Brand is innocent. I don't believe he's innocent at all. And I do believe that women of all colors need to start sharing their stories. No one's trying to trick anybody into outing anybody. But the more you stay silent, the more you stay silent, I won't give them victory. I refuse to give the devil that type of victory. But the more you stay silent, the more, first of all, others don't, because I don't think anybody understands just how prevalent some of this behavior is. Just how prevalent it is, just how often women of all ethnicities, of all social standings, everywhere are preyed on by men everywhere. So being silent just helps for that person for me, being silent, and I'm not trying to shame you or guilt you or anything. But when you stay silent, this person is allowed to continue to accumulate, because now you have all kinds. There's this thing, let me look here. So let me look. There's a bit of a documentary. I don't see it now. If I find it between, okay. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I don't see it. So let me see here. Well, all news outlets, but there was sort of a documentary that they've been showing clips from, where they talked about different women and victims that have come forward. The victims do not come across as though they're lying. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm more likely to believe them. But I can't remember. If I can find the name of it between now and Wednesday, I'll do another live and talk about it. But now I'm going to go ahead and... I did, I think I'm going to unsubscribe. But I did subscribe. I remember, just watching YouTube and seeing some of his content come across my stream. And it's been like a couple of years ago. I said, well, I'll give him some sub love or whatever. I'm really not into his type of humor. He's, a little weird to me. He comes across as weird. And I think that's part of his shtick, is that he's really, really, outrageous, which, but they showed a conversation between him and what's his name, Jimmy Savile. So if you Google Jimmy Savile, if you know anything about Jimmy Savile, I think he's gone now. He's no longer with us. But I don't think he's no longer with us, and I'll have to, I was going to do a podcast on him. But he is like one of the biggest predators in England. They had, I saw this documentary on him, and like all these people came forward. That's why I'm like, you have to, abusers tend to get you into this, get your mind into a vice, and they get you to believe that first of all, they make, they're good at isolating you. So they're good at making you believe that the reason why, that you're the reason that they're behaving like they are towards you, which allows them to make you think that you're the only one, like they're nice to everybody else, but they're really, really abusive toward you. And it's really a way of trying to make you think that their behavior is your fault. And it's really meant to twist your mind up into thinking, well, they're nice to everyone else, so the problem must be me. And so I remember running into a church I attended, and the Holy Spirit said, they're being like that because they're being like that just in case you tell anybody how they've treated you, because they want people to think that their behavior towards you is your fault. So one of the reasons, and there's strength in numbers. Once you find out that there are other people who have suffered what you suffered, you feel a little more empowered to stand up against your bully. And it makes you feel better, like when people come your way with bad behavior, you're more likely to say, you know what, I'm not accepting this. One of the things I've been posting, and you can borrow this, is when people shame you by saying, well, you think you're too good. And that's a lie that the devil likes to tell Black women a lot. Whenever you have goals that you're trying to achieve, like right now I'm practicing piano to add to me singing. And so I'm learning, being self-taught, learning the piano. And so, just to add to me as a musical person, music, people don't understand the role that music plays in, I'm not going to quit, the role that music plays in worship, role that music plays in your private devotions. Not just gospel, although gospel is one of the big ones because we're born again Christians. And so we need that reinforcement. We need that positive reinforcement. We need that word to stand on. I remember going through some fierce warfare at a church I was at, and I was listening to Fred Hammond. Which album? Fred Hammond, and I'm telling you, I must have played that album to death. But it was so encouraging. And Fred Hammond is one of the few gospel artists. Woof. Fred Hammond is one of the few gospel artists. I finally got to see him in concert recently. That also has the ability to lead worship. You don't get that too much with gospel artists. You really don't. But he has one song, Bread of Life, that I love to listen to because it really ministers to me, because it reminds me of who Jesus is. It gives, it's very scriptural, and it reminds you of who Jesus is supposed to be in your life. If you are under warfare like I am right now, I want to offer a word of encouragement, because one scripture just came to me, and the word says to be of good cheer, that in the world we are going to have trouble. Tribulations means trouble, but to be of good cheer because he has overcome the world. And if you are bearing his name, if you are a born again Christian, you have the power to overcome. We are not survivors. I hate when I hear Christians say we're survivors, because it is not biblical. The word says that we are overcomers by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. I recently have had to battle people using witchcraft on me. And I'm like, God never promised you that you would see me fall. But if you insist on making me fall, I'm going to see you fall before you see me fall. You may never see me fall. You may never see me fall. But you're going to fall. Those that keep on to come for you, and especially, like I said, the single moms. Because, we've been dealing with some warfare with some people. Like, it doesn't matter if someone doesn't approve of how your kids got here or whatever their hang up is with you. Just know that you are forgiven. God never told a person on this earth that you weren't qualified to be married. God never told a person on this earth that you were disqualified from marriage because you're raising children alone, regardless of how you became a single mom. Don't let that message of unforgiveness come towards you at all. The blood, whatever you've done in the past before you got saved, is covered under the blood. And anybody who keeps bringing it up is guilty of uttering idle words. So any man who tries to mark you down and tries to make you feel as though you are of lesser worth than other women is of the devil. I've had my share of battles that I've had to fight with men who think that it's okay. Well, you're marked goods. You're damaged goods. You're not damaged goods. One of the things we know with the word of God, that anything that is damaged, God has the ability to restore. So you are not damaged goods. You are not only good for sex. You are not only good to be passed around. Whenever pastors want to do bad, and whenever a false prophet wants to get some nookie from you, the first thing they want to tell you that is God's will for it to happen. It is not God's will. It is not God's will. It is God's will for you to stand. Don't let the devil come at you with some nonsense. Don't let the devil come at you and try to tell you that you're not qualified for marriage. And know this, if you're, pray for these victims that are coming forward against some of these. We don't pray for people. Pray for these victims that are coming forward against Russell Brand. Regardless of what's going down, I don't think enough people pray about these situations. We don't intercede. These ladies are having to come forward against a very famous person. I can remember when he was married to singer Katy Perry, when they first got married, and they had said something about him being a sex addict or whatever. And so, she basically made some remarks like, well, he don't got to worry because I got this. And I was like, girl, if he's a sex addict, you could have 3 pussies. And it ain't going to be enough to tame that animal. Because, when they are that bad off, the only thing that can really help them is deliverance, number one. Because that is a spiritual issue. When a person can't stop having sex or is victimizing other people, and usually if a person is a sex addict, especially males, they do run into the thing of sooner or later harming somebody with their habit. Okay, they do at some point harm people. It's very rare. Let me say that much. So, but like I said, pray for some of these victims that are pray for some of these women that are coming forward and having to talk about being abused by a very powerful man. Because many of these people, if you've heard any of the teachings about narcissistic abuse, that one aspect is what they call the flying monkey. And so the flying monkey is a Wizard of Oz reference to the Wicked Witch of the West, I think it was, the one that was alive and Dorothy took her shoes. um, anyway, she had flying monkeys that did her bidding. And many times when you're dealing with very powerful men or public figures, many of them have fan bases that will come for you. And if you're a cult, if you've left a cult, if you've left an abusive church, many times those pastors have followers that they send after you. So you endure a different kind of warfare, but it's not a warfare that can't be overcome. So continue. So as you're dealing with this, if you have a relationship with Christ, hold even stronger to your relationship with Christ. Because I really honestly believe that these false teachings about single moms and calling women Jezebel that aren't Jezebel and all of this other stuff, I really believe that it's a sign of Satan trying to undermine your faith. You have to watch, because there are people, there are people who believe all kind of weird stuff. So you have to cleave tighter to the word. Like I said before, the word is a lamp unto your feet and a light unto your path. It'll show you where you are. It'll also show you where you're headed. So even if you're headed in the wrong direction, 1 John 1:9 says that you confess your sin, and if you confess your sins, he is faithful and just to forgive you and cleanse you of all unrighteousness. When the devil wants to come at you and talk to you about your single parent status or anything other status, you remind Satan that you are forgiven. If one of these men tries to come to you and act like he's entitled to sex with you and tries to shame you, you remind him that you are forgiven. One thing about this demon that came here after black women and tried to shame us into giving into his thing is that a few people investigated him and found out that the case that he was talking about happened a long time ago, and the link to their GoFundMe doesn't even work because it was shut down a long time ago because they reached their goal. And so he was trying to scam black women and got found out rather quickly. He was on TikTok, I believe, but trying to scam us. First of all, trying to shame us over this woman, trying to play on any residual guilt that you might have about believing this story, but then turning around and trying to put you on a guilt trip to act like, well, you didn't support a man who was out to support you. Well, people did support him. Okay, but I'm like, this is so despicable, but it seemed like it's been that kind of stuff that's been going on. So, like I said, I'm gonna have, my lesson, for Friday, to the Latin American audience. I have not forgot you. I am going to see what I can do to get this situation together with AMP, the new app. Or if I can try to get back on, get my get things going, or go back to Station Head and do it. But the Latin freestyle and Latin hip hop podcast is coming. I haven't forgot you. We have not forgot your contribution to our celebration. I celebrate the 50th anniversary of hip hop because it is the celebration of black music. The generation where hip hop started, just like a whole lot of other things that were started with the black community or was largely black in its origins. Many people talked so bad about hip hop and swore up and down it wasn't going to last. And here we are 50 years later. No matter what genre that you like or don't like, This is a celebration for all of us. Like, I like to think of even though there are people who swear up and down, hip hop has not destroyed our community. And so for me, the celebration of hip hop is a celebration for us all. This is a win for, even if it's not your genre, if you don't sing that kind of music or don't enjoy it, it is a hip hop for the underdog. It is a hip hop for us all. It is a hip hop for us all. I'm a day oneer. I go all the way back to the Sugar Hill Gang. I was looking at this one program and they asked, well, how far back do you go with women in hip hop? And I said Sequence. So if you don't know, Sequence is Angie Stone's old group. They were one of the first female hip hop artists. They were on Sugar Hill Records, Sylvia Robinson's label, and they really came about just like a second or two after Sugar Hill Gang's Rapper's Delight. So they were kind of the female version on that. So yeah, Latins, I'm not gonna, promise what I ain't gonna deliver. We have not forgot your contribution to the world of hip hop. So it will be coming. I will get it done. I don't know, like I said before, it's just been a lot. But I'm still hanging in there. I'm still staying saved, and I want to encourage you to stay saved as well. Ladies, black women, I'm gonna say it again. Don't be silent. No, we are no longer practicing any shut mouth grace. Whether the issue is sexism, whether the issue is racism, whether whatever attacks you've been going through of the enemy, okay, anything that is meant to undermine your faith in Jesus Christ, anything that is meant to try to take you out of the kingdom, know that God's got you. Okay, he keeps his word. You have to watch out for some of these false prophets, for some of these misbehaving pastors. I'm at the point now where if a pastor is involved in sexual sin, I'm not going to his church. I'm not going. If a man approaches me and he's still fornicating, don't invite me to your church. I have no desire to go. I don't care what color you are. I'm over men who are calling themselves saved and still fornicating. If you can't lead me to Christ, I don't have no use for you at all. If you're leading me to your bedroom quicker than you're leading me to Christ, we don't have no conversation to have. I've had enough of being soft on men who are not living it. Anyway, I'll talk more about the things that I'm talking about now this coming Friday. For the next few Fridays, I probably, I'll let you know when it's going to be an Eclectic Music Geek podcast. So you guys have a good rest of the week. I will see you on Friday.